Greetings and salutations, folks. My name is Nick, and welcome back to I was about to say Forza Drivers Cup. Forza Motorsport 7. Where we are finally on the last leg of the journey. The Forza Drivers Cup itself.
The Forza Drivers Cup.
Specifically the side quests. As we are known to do. Let us start with Porsche 911 High-Speed Chase. Oh, another one where we drive past previous versions. Basically, lots of speed.
I remember the first time I saw a 911 Turbo in the streets of Montreal, and how beautifully wide and sculpted that vehicle was. And again, you could see the ethos of the vehicle speaking through the way it was shaped, the size of that rear wing, the vents on it, the size of the wheels, the brakes. I mean, it was obvious that vehicle was meant to thrill you. It was such an alien vehicle in the midst of all these boring vehicles.
All right. Let's see how well this goes. We have only one lap, so I'm hoping this isn't one of those cases where I have to sit around and wait for like half a minute before I can actually drive. "20 seconds? Okay, that's not as bad. Oh, secret drink mix. Alright. Hopefully this doesn't cause me as many problems as the last delayed race. But I will try my best. Hold on for dear life. Control is actually way better than I was expecting. Or should I say handling is. Of this car is a little bit better than I was expecting it to be. Especially given the amount of tight turns that this particular track is requiring me to attempt. I wanted to see if I could kind of bounce off of that car, but this car is actually faster than it. And I suppose that's the thing with all of these, this specific type of race, is you're specifically driving a car that outmatches all of your competition. Alright, let's try that again, because it looks like if we don't do this particular turn right, we will have to do the whole race again. Alright, let's rewind and see if we could do that one turn better, because in theory, if we do that one turn, fine. Though there is also a possibility that I could probably shave more time off of the rest of the race if I try again. So that's probably what's going to happen if this doesn't work. And I think that's what I might end up having to do, is to start to be a little bit more adventurous. With my second attempt. Wow. And I can't even rewind at this point. Great. So I have no choice but to do this again. Alright, so this one is also going to be a little bit tricky. Let's skip back to when I actually get to leave the starting line. Alright, here's to attempt number 2. Obviously, I'm going to have to take on these turns a lot better. If I expect to actually succeed. I think that one was a little bit better. Overall, a little bit better than the first time. It almost feels like it's not. Because I'm just sliding all over the dirt, but at the same time, I'm getting very close to... I'm sort of getting very close to passing by this, wow. To getting, past this 5th place driver. Okay, so maybe the handling isn't quite as tight as I was thinking it was, but at the same time, now I'm trying things that I normally should not if this was an official race. And unfortunately, I feel as though I'm still making... the same speed. Like I think I've passed by this 5th place driver at about the same point. Which does not necessarily bode well. Okay, let's try that a little bit better without going so far off-road. Because I'm trying to avoid crashing into the car directly in front of me. Son of a... Okay. Back to the starting line. Alright, attempt number 3. Let us hope for the best. Seek perfection despite the fact that we are not quite at that state. Nope, that's not gonna work. That was a close one. I don't know if that was necessarily a good enough turn for us to... Oh my gosh. For us to actually succeed. Oh my gosh. It is amazingly easy to just lose control once you go off-road just for a little bit. Which, I mean, your car is probably pretty low to the ground. So, I suppose it does make sense. And you're driving at probably 150 miles an hour. Hitting the curb at a pretty good speed. But, at the very least, I know that this particular run is going a little bit better. Because I was in 5th place way earlier. And if I'm supposed to be way faster than these other Porsches, why am I not catching up with them? As fast as I should. Oh my gosh. You son of a... I'm still not entirely sure what causes that spin out. As much as, like... I feel like when I make mistakes playing this game, I don't necessarily find myself with understanding as to what causes these mistakes all the time. Most of the time, yes. But some of the time, like in regards to spinning out after getting kind of tapped to the side, that mistake leaves me a little bit with more questions than answers. More towards the idea of, like, maybe I should just avoid that. But then I've tried that against other cars and have not achieved the same results. So either way, we finished that one. We've gotten a Porsche. Let us move on to the Ken Block Ford Mustang.
When it's you against another driver, that's when the pressure is on. You know your target, you know what you have to do, and there's really two sides of the coin. You're trying to capitalize on their mistakes when you're behind them, and once you're in front of them, the pressure is on you to not make any mistakes for them to capitalize on. So just the straight two-car battle is still one of the great things in racing.
So basically, you're trying not to make any mistakes regardless. Good. We've covered... It's really the same side of the coin. I mean, like, both times. But I don't see myself as having that much trouble with this track. Especially since I'm already in first place. And I still have an entire almost 2 laps to go of 2 laps. So maybe that's also why you never find yourself starting in second place in the main cup. Like, when you're playing online, your positioning is going to change. When you're playing single player, you're always starting from 11th place. And I wonder if that is also based on the understanding of the limitations of the game's AI. Versus, like, with online play, you're going to have a much wider skill set. Whereas, like, in this race, I started in second place. And immediately overtook. And I'm clearly all over the road. Like, if I was in 11th place and I was driving like this, I might have actually had to rewind a couple times. Largely because I don't think I'm doing a particularly great job in regards to just driving the race, but I'm driving well enough that I do not lose my lead. Which is good enough for me, despite the fact that I'm spending way more time... Oh, well, didn't even pay attention to the fact that there's a turn coming up. Far more time in the sand wastes than I was expecting. Or should I say that I was hoping for. But yeah, it makes for an overall easy race, especially if you start so far up the grid. Like, if I had to actually compete against a whole bunch of drivers, or if I had to do like a one-on-one against another player, then that might be a little bit difficult. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. And by a lot, I mean I probably would not succeed. Like, I feel as though my success is in this particular track is based on two things. And one, it is the positioning that is given to me primarily because this is a one-on-one. And two, because the computer is not very good at overtaking. Either way, we're done here. And we can move on to the next challenge, the next side quest. Oh, and also get a free Ford, which I will not feel bad about getting a free car, as that is going to be money saved in the future. A 2016 Ford Shelby. All right. And then we've got GT Racing Reborn. Take an ordinary production car and remove the bodywork. Replace the chassis with a stronger one and add a new engine, preferably with a turbocharger. What you have now are extreme GTs that required a deep breath before opening the throttle. So, fast car. You could have opened with fast car, go fast.
Race fuel is something that you can smell blocks away. It is a visceral moment, and you just feel good because you know you're about to hear something scream across the track, make big power. There's something that just, it's like fireworks in your soul. To be trackside and to hear cars when they go by you. You know, I always tell fans, if you want to go to a race and see it, it's not lap 1, it's lap 2. When they come by wide open and you feel the insides of your body shake from that horsepower and that speed as they just fly by you, that's something special.
And I think that's actually something that's discussed in John Green's book. I could never remember the word. The Apothecary Reviewed. I'll put a link in the description because I'll never remember that word. But in that book, he talks about... Hold on, this race is actually... Why are some racers in red and the rest in blue? Are there two different races going on? Because it says I'm in first place. Okay. He talks about the Indy 500. And his love of the Indy 500. And like how even before the actual races begin, you can still hear the cars on the track from his house. And that once quarantine began and they tried to do a televised version, it just wasn't the same. The social interaction was gone, and the feeling of the cars just flying by you, was also gone. So just looking at the cars go around in circles by itself was an empty experience. Oh, hold on. That guy's not in my race. Hold on. I am confused. I'm at the bottom of the ranking, but it does say I'm in first place. Alright, I guess let's go on for 5 more laps and hope for the best. But this is the first of this type of race that I've seen, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. So anyway, yeah, there's the visceral feeling that comes with being at the race itself. I've never actually seen, I've never actually been to any sort of racetrack. I have family members who have. And they have told me a similar story. Like, the sound of the engines itself has a specific sort of impact that you feel physically. That even if you can't really necessarily determine what's going on, because you've got so many cars and you've got people who are lapping each other. I don't even know what these blue cars are doing, but I'm still in place 1 of 12, so I'm relying on the game systems to inform me that I am successful. Also, 6 laps, that's a lot. Either way, 2 out of 6 is almost done, and at the very least, it's not an endurance race. I only did one. Maybe I wouldn't say never again, but if I had an option, probably not. Because that is a lot of racing to do. I wonder what, how things like NASCAR and the Indy 500 are going to, like, how are these things going to be affected by environmental change and environmental laws and changes to automobiles. Like, he talks about racer fuel. Ah, son of a... I just made a mistake. My bad. Let's try that again. No. Stay full. Like, as more automobiles start switching to electric, like, how is the experience going to change? Now, obviously, if your car goes fast enough, it does not necessarily change what propels it. Or should I say, matter what propels it. Like, once your car has a certain speed, there's going to be a certain, like, whiplash effect to whatever passes by. If you have something that breaks the sound barrier, it will still have that same effect regardless of what caused it, whether it is a plane or a Superman. But that's the question, is how easily will the electric engines be able to match these current ones? Or will they? That is something I haven't done any research in, particularly because I haven't really done any research into current NASCAR vehicles, / Indy 500, / whatever Forza is actually based on. And I wonder if by the time Forza Motorsport 8 shows up, there's also going to be a category for electric cars. And actually, now that I think about it, I forget who I was, I believe it was Mike Channel of Outside Xbox. He was talking about using Indy 500 using electric cars. So that switch may be already upon us. And it's just probably an interesting story that I just have not looked into. But when you consider testimony like the individual who introduced this particular race, he talks about race fuel. Like, that'll eventually become less of a literal description and more of a figurative description. Kind of like the save icon. whenever you save a game and you see the image of a 3.5-inch floppy disk utilized as a save icon, it is no longer a literal interpretation of what it refers to, but a figurative interpretation that is directly linked to what the person is trying to express. There would be no longer any race fuel per se, but that would be the figurative interpretation to perhaps directly relate to the strength of the battery, or perhaps even the will of the driver. Itself another figurative or almost hypothetical concept, still roughly measurable to some degree. Like, in theory, you can still measure the will of the driver to succeed based on implicit data, like how hard they fight. But it's not exactly as concrete as you have this much gas in your tank. Either way, regardless of what happens next for electric cars and racing, I'm really hoping that whatever the hell I'm doing in this race succeeds. Because 6 laps is a lot of laps to have to do again. And this track is not particularly short, even with this faster car. Like, this car, I think, caps out at about, what, 120 miles an hour? No, never mind, even faster. But it still takes a good couple minutes per lap. And as you can see, that's me making a mistake again, not paying attention to where the turn is, and then slamming both the brakes and the handbrake, and just hoping that's enough to succeed. And I think I'm going to be lapped by the blue driver. If not this lap, then not the next lap. And if not the next lap, then whatever future lap would occur if this race just continued infinitely. But I suspect that's going to be happening very shortly. And I'm hoping there are no consequences. Alternatively, I could try to run this guy off the road. Okay, let's... Oh. No rewinds. Well. That's news to me. Ow. How very, very rude. Ah. Son of a... Still in first. But I suppose it's important to know that there is no room for failure in this track. That has taken me a little bit by surprise. Especially since I have never turned off rewinds. So I guess that means I'm going to have to keep an eye on who's behind me. Yeah. Take that, you jerk. Even though now I'm kind of throwing off somebody else's race. Potentially. I don't know why we're having multiple races on the same track. Though this does kind of tie to something I was thinking about the other day. Like the idea that, like, if you have more than, like, 10 or so racers on a track, everything gets very congested. And since we had, like, a couple different tracks or races going on, that second race, as they were passing me by again, became very problematic, as they, like, each car had the potential to run me off the road. All right, we've got a new 1989 Audi. Let us do one more side quest. Desert Dingo.
If I was going to bowl using a
Bowling.
car as a ball, I would want to consider my frontal surface area. I'd want to consider the mass of the car. I'd want to consider the grip of the car on presumably the oiled lane. And I'd want to consider the safety record of that car, because I'm going to be hitting some pins at speed.
I'm not going to be hitting pins and speed. I'm going to be driving whatever speed is necessary that I could just slowly smash through some bowling pins and then emerge on the other side. Are those belt buckles in the front? And also, is there a timer? Because if there is no timer, then... See, this one's a little bit trickier because... Does it matter how fast I'm going while I drive through the pins? That one I don't actually know. I've never paid that much attention to. Either way, we are... almost halfway through the track, not quite halfway through the score. Ooh. That one was a nice boost. Yeah, that one put us over halfway. Which will help in the long run a lot. Why are there so many pins to the left of the track? Or does this... I suppose this mini game doesn't necessarily need to care about the presence of track. But I would like some more pins, like, right next to each other like they were in that other sequence. That would be great. Let's go for this one. We're almost there, both in track and in score. So I don't know if this is going to be problematic. And whether I can actually just turn around and drive through as many... Yeah, I can just turn around. So what if I just turn around and go back a little ways so that I get behind a whole bunch of pins? Like, let's say I turn around to, like, here. and then pick up some speed, because it looks like, at the very least, speed is required. Nope, that is not going to work. I might actually have to do this one again. Because none of these points seem to count. The game recognizes that I'm trying to cheat. Alright, let's try bowling over some pins again. I guess this means we're going to have to try... I don't know if we have to try for more speed, and that might increase... our point totals. Let's see, I believe we finished off this first section of track at about like 200 or 164, I think. Are we falling behind, or are we doing better? I forget actually what we were at the first time. Oh my god, son of a... Yeah, I think we were actually doing better the first time. Potentially. And that this might require multiple stabs. But we're at 249. We've still got a few options of pins to... Oh, no, wait. We've done it. Excellent. Second time was the charm. And now it does not matter what score we get. We just need to get across the finish line, and this side quest is complete. Alright, and here we're going to stop for now. Got any suggestions for something to play next? Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.